have found the Genesis frequency. This is Dr. Stephen J. Kosmyna welcoming you in to another episode of a show that focuses on your whole life prosperity and success. Whole life prosperity and success by cooperating with the universal laws that are available to each and every one of us. This is Quantum Leap Goal Achievement, radical personal transformation, whole life prosperity and success. Now, stay tuned for another exciting episode that'll move the needle in your life from where you are now to where you want to be.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it may be, wherever you are in the world, when you hit that play button. So glad you did. You did it for you. You don't do it for me. You did it for you because this show is all about personal development, professional development, spiritual development, leadership development, showing up every day with excellence, with the intention of being a better version of ourselves than we were yesterday, and continuing to move in the direction of our objectives, our goals, our dreams, our desires, our aspirations, to really live this life out loud and live this life to the fullest, living life as we were called to live it. What is that? What is that for you? Reach out and let's talk about that. I love to hear people's goals and dreams. Sometimes it gets a little sad because a lot of people I talk to reach out because they want to share that, but they have given up. They've given up or they put the dream up on the shelf. They were all excited about it a long time ago, and then they just said, no, you know what? I don't have time for that, or this got in the way, or I can't. And they bought into all the excuses or all the reasons why they can't. And that's where I come in. Somebody to help show you those blind spots and say, here's what the problem is right here. So reach out to me and let's talk. Successappointment.com. This is Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kosmyna. And we're going to jump right in here and talk about some of those stoppers. This is the time of year I talk a lot about it. You know, we talk about it throughout the year, every year, because this is a problem. And it's something that we need to examine within ourselves. And so we're going to take a dive. Hopefully I say things in a unique way, in a different way, so that that part of you that needs to hear this will hear this and be instigated in some way to make, that's probably not the word I'm really grasping for, but to make the change you need to make so you can make the quantum leaps you always hear me talking about. And you can do this thing. You can take the dream down off the shelf and say, let's take a look at this again. You know, there's something interesting really happening right now. Everywhere you look, especially in this day and age where we're bombarded by social media, people are trying to change their lives. I see it all day long, especially being in this industry, this field of personal development and leadership development for individuals and for companies and organizations. People are trying to change their lives, new goals, new habits, new strategies. Hopefully, they're believing in themselves more, knowing that what they have to know is out there. New productivity systems. I have those, you know. I market the My Time Success Planner, the original one. I have the rights to that. Smart goals. Yeah, that's my company. Yeah, but yeah, you know what? With all of this and with all that seeking and all that trying to change, many still feel stuck. They work harder, people learn more, they try again and again and again, but something invisible keeps pulling them back to the same emotional place, the same emotional state, same results, Same same internal limits. But what I invite you to think about today is what if the issue, and maybe this is you, maybe you can see yourself in all of this. What if the issue isn't that you need to add something new to your life? What if the real work is learning how to release what no longer belongs to you? Are you holding on to something that no longer belongs to you? That's not yours. So today I want to talk about something deeply practical and deeply transformative. I really want you to listen to this, especially for anyone interested in personal growth, leadership development, leadership growth, or living a more intentional life. Because growth rarely begins with acquisition, it begins with letting go. So let's talk about that hidden weight we all carry. And I'm doing good. I am just inches away from my weight target. So I always got to work that in there because it's been a long road to finally having success here. But you know what? The weight we carry. Most people are not living in the present moment, and that's a problem right there. They are living inside a story. And you can go to right to my website, thegenesisfrequency.com, or wherever you listen to your podcasts, and put in the keyword stories. I mean, I know it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse, but man, we got to recognize this. And if I can say this in a different way so you can see yourself in this, you will be thanking me for the quantum leap you're about to make. Most people are living inside some story, some kind of story, a story built from past experiences, old disappointments, early conditioning and programming, moments of failure, words spoken over them, over you years ago. Years ago, somebody said something, but you moved in. You accepted it and you moved into it. Or perhaps identities that you've adopted without realizing it. Yeah, I moved into that. I moved into that. That's where I come from energetically and emotionally. I moved in and we never question it. So here's the powerful part. We don't just remember these experiences. We unconsciously organize our lives around them. You may say you want expansion, success, peace, or fulfillment. But if an old internal narrative says, I'm not enough, things never work out for me, I have to struggle. Everything I do, I have to struggle. People always disappoint me. If you're any of those things or more, right? You know what they are. If you do this, if your narrative says these things, then your decisions, your reactions, and expectations quietly align with that story that you have bought into and adopted, even if it's unconscious, even if you're not aware of it. Not because it's true, but because it's familiar. And familiarity feels safe. Really, it does. And that's what I work with people on. That's the comfort zone. And you've heard the cliches, you've heard it said before. Everything I want is in that cave I fear to enter because it's comfortable here. This is familiar. Going about me day in and day out unconsciously is familiar to me, is comfortable to me. Even when it limits us, we do that. We buy into that. I'm an unconscious competent and I wear that like a badge of honor. Don't affirm that. I'm being facetious. All right. So you are not your story. I say that over and over again, almost every episode. You are not your story. One of the most liberating realizations a person can have is this: you are not the story you have been telling yourself about your life. You're not that. We do a lot of work with people around their health. And some of the conditions that they bought into, they wear those like a badge of honor. Oh, I'm a type 2 diabetes. Well, you can reverse that. You can do things to step away from that, step out of the no. No, that's what I am. You can't do anything about that. And they wear these things like a badge of honor. You are not the story you've been telling yourself about your life. No matter what it is, your past contains events, but events are not identity. Something happened to you, but it's not what you are. You experienced loss. Yep, I sure have. But I am not. You are not loss. You experience failure. Plenty of them right here on this side of the microphone, that's for sure. But you are not. I am not failure. You went through seasons of limitation, but limitation is not your nature. And I can really relate that to this weight release journey that I've been on. Man, you get some places you're just stuck there. You know what I'm talking about? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But we go through these seasons. But that's not our nature. There's something deeper in you that existed before every experience and remains untouched by all of them. Call it awareness, call it consciousness, call it your soul, call it your higher self. It doesn't matter what you call it. Give it a name. Whatever language you prefer, whatever part of you want to come from when you're looking at this aspect of your higher self. I like to say your divine self, your divine identity, whatever language you prefer, whatever you're comfortable with. It is the part of you capable of observing your thoughts rather than being controlled by them. You're the observer. You are not the thought. You observe them. And the key here is the moment you recognize that observer within you, whatever you call it, freedom begins. Now, you're getting a lot of value here. And I say this every single episode because it's so true. People place little or no value on that which they get for free, and you're not being charged for this. You should be, but you're not. Reach out. We could talk about that. No, but really, this is you're getting the good stuff here. Nothing's really held back. I like to go deeper and be that person that sees the blind spots and really help develop you. But you're getting a lot here. So write it down. Listen again and again and again because it's the repetition that causes retention within you. So let's look at this. Why do we hold on? Why do we hold on to this stuff? Well, a lot of the reason is a lot of us we don't even know it's there. It's that program running in the background for most people. It really is. That's why we use the term unconscious competence. They're unconscious because they're on autopilot. This program runs in the background and and moment by moment, hour by hour, day after day, week by week, year, month by month, year after year, this program is the operating system. So why don't we release these old patterns more easily? Well, because our mind, confuses familiarity that I just talked about with identity. If you have lived long enough with a certain emotional pattern, let's label some of these that so you can relate to it, like worry, resentment, self-doubt, maybe on the other end, over striving, all those things. And we can name more, but they all, it begins to feel like all these things are who you are. That's the point I'm getting to. If you've lived long enough with a certain emotional pattern, it begins to feel like who you are, and we buy into it. But most patterns are simply learned responses. They were survival strategies at one time and perhaps even served us well. Maybe caution protected you once. Maybe perfectionism earned approval. Maybe emotional armor prevented pain at one time. But what once protected you can eventually imprison you. You have to recognize that. Growth requires asking an honest question, and we'll throw it out there right now. Is this pattern, and this is what you want to spend some time with. This is part of the application and action part for you to do. You have to do something. You have to take action on these lessons that I shared. These are really lessons. They really are. Is this pattern still serving the person I am becoming or I intend to become? Because remember, it's always order, be, do, have, right? So what have we set the intention to be this year and beyond? I'm going to be this, right? So now we're examining these patterns. We're looking deep at programming. We're looking deep at habitual behavior. We're looking at beliefs. We're looking at stories we bought into. Is this pattern? Is this habitual behavior? Is this paradigm still serving the person I intend to become, I want to become, I desire to become, I am becoming? It's either serving that or it's not. So within this, let's talk about leadership for a moment because all leadership begins within. This applies directly to leadership. Make no doubt about it. Make no mistake. Many leadership conversations focus on communication skills, strategy, influence, and all those matter, but they are secondary. They're secondary. The real influence you carry comes from your inner state. A leader who has not released fear leads from control. And I see this. A leader who has not released insecurity leads from comparison. A leader who has not released old wounds reacts instead of responds. But a leader who has done inner work, this inner work, and that's where it begins. It always begins there. A leader who's done the inner work carries calm authority. They're not trying to prove themselves. They are free to serve the moment. That's powerful. The most powerful leaders are not those who dominate rooms. They are those who are internally unburdened. I like that. I love when this stuff drops in. Internally unburdened. So, what do we got to do? What do we got to do? Let's talk about the practice of release, making this really practical in the short time that we have together. Because I'm always about what is it? How does it work? What will it do for me? What is the application I can make in my particular situation, my life? And what are the action steps? So let's dive into that. The practice of release. We're going to make this real practical right now. Releasing isn't dramatic. Okay. It's something we have to do. Absolutely, positively, yes. But it doesn't have to be dramatic. It's not. It shouldn't be. It's rarely a single breakthrough moment. Often it can be. We have emotional impacts throughout our lives that instigate change. And I've had a few of those. But when we're doing this intentional work, it's rarely just a single moment. It's work that we're doing. More often, it's a quiet decision. Okay, follow along. It's a quiet decision repeated daily. That's key. A decision repeated daily. We're noticing, and I'm bringing back. Remember, I said I think last episode. Notice what you're noticing. That's a big key here. It's an interesting little phrase, but really, we're noticing what we're noticing. That's how we look at some of these shadows, some of these controlling programs and paradigms. So here's a process you can use. You can begin to use this immediately. Number one, notice the pattern. Pay attention to recurring emotional reactions. Their patterns, their triggers. Where do you overreact? Where do you withdraw? Where do you assume the worst? Patterns reveal unfinished stories. Is there another way you can look at this? Just remember that patterns reveal unfinished stories. And we're looking inside. This is where you're not invited to do this outside of you. Where do you overreact? Where do you withdraw? Where do you assume the worst? And let that examination and that observation reveal something to you. Notice what you're noticing. Number two, separate fact from meaning. Separate the fact from the meaning. What actually happened? What actually happened? What what meaning did I attach to it? I see so much conflict, so many arguments, so many senses and feelings of separations, especially in relationships. When we attach a meaning to something that may be there, but may not be. Is there another way you can look at this? Could it mean something else? I love one of my favorite teachers, Dr. Wayne Dyer, the late, great Dr. Wayne Dyer, said nothing has any meaning until, uh, besides the meaning that we give it. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing, don't have it in front of me. But the meaning that we give to things, events, circumstances, situations, the meaning is usually inherited, not inevitable. It's based on a story, perhaps a false pattern or program that's running in the background. So that's number two. Okay. Notice the pattern, separate fact from meaning. Number three, question the identity. Instead of saying, no, this is just how I am, try asking, is this who I truly am? Or just who I learned to be? This is how I learned. Is this just how I learned to show up in this kind of particular situation? Is this who I truly am? Better yet, is this who I truly want to be in this moment? In what is I am immersed in right now? What do I want to be? It's your opportunity to be that. It's a choice. That's where your power lies. Number four is release without fighting. You don't heal by attacking yourself, okay? You release by gently refusing to rehearse the old narrative again and again and again and again. You don't have to go over it again and again and again. Not suppression, not denial, just simply non participation. And you know this. You know this. You can do it in relationships. You can't have an argument unless both people are arguing, right? Or both people are, you don't have a fight unless, it takes two to tango, so to speak. So you don't attack yourself, even the inner narrative, right? Even within the monkey chatter, we don't do that. We don't suppress it. We don't deny it. We just don't participate in that. All right. So by doing these things, these four things, all right, this is release, noticing the pattern, separating fact from meaning, question the identity, releasing without fighting. What we're really doing is we're making space, we're moving that stuff out, and making space for something greater. You know, nature teaches us something profound. Growth always requires space. Trees shed leaves. The body, our body, your body, my body, everybody's body releases cells. Seasons change by letting go of what came before, right? Human beings try to accumulate transformation instead. We don't accumulate transformation. Life works differently. You don't become you don't become new by adding layers. You become new by uncovering what was always there. When old resentment falls away, peace appears. When fear loses its grip, creativity emerges. When outdated self images dissolve, possibility expands. Nothing new was imported, something true was revealed. So, what we're really doing here is we're defining, we're forming, we're recognizing perhaps a new relationship with the past. Releasing the past doesn't mean rejecting it. So so you can be clear about that. We're not rejecting it. It means reinterpreting it. Can you go there? It means reinterpreting it. Your past was look at it like, and I've done this a lot. Your past was preparation. Everything in my past was preparation for this moment right here and now. Not definition, preparation. Every experience gave awareness. Every challenge built capacity. Every season shaped wisdom. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? Try asking, what did this awaken in me? What did this show me? What did this teach me? What can I take as wisdom gained? That single shift transforms memory from weight into fuel. So now we move to this place where we can begin choosing freedom daily. Freedom is not a one-time achievement. It's a daily orientation. Each day you are quietly choosing, will I react from yesterday or will I respond from awareness today? Will I reinforce the familiar or step into the possible? No grand announcement is required, just small moments of conscious choice. And over time, those moments reshape identity itself. Be crystal clear on that. So we got to wrap things up here. I see I'm going long. Imagine what becomes possible when you're no longer dragging yesterday into every decision you make. Oh, I got to drag all that stuff. Where's my bags? Where's the garbage bag? I got to drag all that garbage from before, from the past, from my stuff. I got to drag it around with me. We've all seen people walking around. Unfortunate circumstances, but they got to drag it all with them. Imagine conversations without old defensiveness, work without inner pressure, relationships without inherited fear. How about leadership without performance? Peace is not something you earn later. It emerges the moment you stop carrying what was never meant to define you. The moment you stop carrying that. So today, here's a simple question to sit with. I know I gave you a few of them. What am I ready to release? What am I ready to release? And if you don't know, you move into that observer role and notice what you're noticing. Where's this coming from? a belief, a habit, a behavior? What am I ready to release? Not because it was wrong, but because it is finished. I don't need that anymore. It's not serving how I want to show up, what I want to be, what I want to do, what I want to have. I'm ready to release that now. And here's perhaps even a deeper question. Who might I become if I stopped living from the past and allowed life to move through me freely now? Think about that. Allowing life to move through you freely. That energy, that life energy, unconditioned, unconditioned by any past experiences. A couple of good questions. Hope you wrote those down. Go back and listen to this. I love this piece that I have shared with you today. I love going through this. I invite you to go through it and over it and listen to it over and over and over again. Perhaps you're driving, perhaps you're multitasking. I do that a lot. We're listening in the background. But go back to this with no distractions, with pen and page. Make some notes. Do this work. On top of that, go to successappointment.com. Schedule some time with me. We'll talk about doing this work in your organization. When we do this as a group and within your company, we impact culture. Because just as we're talking about the individual here, when we talk about it in an organization or a company, it is those patterns, that programming, that unconsciousness that is the operating system of the organizational or company culture. And if this resonates with you, well, then you know that transformation needs to take place. Reach out. We do that work. Individuals, small businesses, entrepreneurs, corporations, organizations, nonprofits, and ministries. Reach out. So I want to thank you. We're way over. Thank you for spending this time with me today here on the Genesis Frequency. Share this thing. Share this thing. I haven't been big on promotion and marketing and all that stuff. It's just organic. I'm all over the world. Tens and thousands, and I don't know how many downloads. A lot. But it's because people like you have shared this, have resonated with this message, have found some transformation within yourself and some growth tools. So please share this. Reach out. Let's have a conversation. Let's just talk. Successappointment.com. My calendar opens up in your time zone. So again, if it resonated with you, share it with someone who may be ready to release an old story and step into a larger life. That is my mission and my purpose. So until next time, stay aware, stay intentional, and keep listening for the deeper wisdom already alive within you. This is Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kosmyna. You've been listening to the Genesis Frequency Podcast, and I wish for you an infinitely spectacular day. God bless you.